Hello, everybody. I'm Matt.
And I'm Maggie.
And we are
Hopefully Awesome.
That's right, a positive place on the internet where we nerd out about all the geeky things we love. And this week's geeky things include more DC news, of course, because, God help us to not have it. Star Wars. We got Donald Glover. We got some My Hero Academia. And, of course, we are going to be reviewing Avatar: The Way of Water. Because this is the Hopefully Awesome Show, our weekly show where me and Maggie break down all of this past week's nerdy news and just kind of talk about it and figure it out. Yeah. If this is your first time watching, thank you for joining us this time. Welcome aboard. We hope you enjoy yourself. But yeah, before we get into anything, Maggie, was there anything you want to talk about?
Not really. I'm ready.
Well, it's good because there's no time to talk about it, Maggie. Because it's time for the news.
Good news, everybody. Oh, Jesus.
So, real quick, I got this air horn. If you want to know the story of how I got this air horn, you head over to patreon.com/hopefullyawesome and listen to the Hopefully Awesome Weekly this week.
Also, you can also listen to me and Matt go off on a tangent about animal movies.
For a good 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, it was an interesting conversation.
How do we get from a dog playing basketball to dogs that can talk to ghosts? That's all I'm saying, all right?
And that can go to space.
Enough. It's time for another
Santa Claus
DC Roundup. It's time for DC. What is Woody's Roundup?
Woody's Roundup. Woody's Roundup. I don't know all the words to it.
Okay.
That's pretty much what it is, though. I know it's...
He's the greatest ever in the wild world. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yodelay. Yeah. All right. Remember Stinky Pete? Or that fuck Stinky Pete? All right.
Don't bring him up again.
Everybody. James Gunn in DC. They've had a lot of things, even more things since last week.
More things.
And it's great. Somewhat. It's a mixed bag. We got some good things, we got some bad things. Yeah. So we're gonna kind of break this down.
Sad things. Some people might just think.
Some things that's like
cringe.
Shit. Kicking us off. Via The Hollywood Reporter, James Gunn is writing a Superman movie. That's right, everybody. James Gunnsey is writing the next Superman movie.
Gunnsey?
Yeah, James Gunnsey.
Okay. All right.
No, honestly, this is very exciting.
Yes.
I gotta say,
yeah.
I know we usually read the story first, but just right out the gate, I love James Gunn. I'm very excited to see what he does. Apparently, when I don't think I put this in here, but when the whole Marvel James Gunn thing went down, and DC was like, "Hey, you want to come over here?" They actually asked him to make a Superman movie.
Oh shit!
And he was like, "No, I'll do Suicide Squad."
Yeah.
Because I think he just didn't want to.
No, he didn't want to step on anybody's toes yet.
And
which
now everything
now
was still.
He can stomp on all over their
But
toes.
apparently, when they asked him that, he started getting ideas, and it's been just staying in his head for like 4 years. So
man,
dude, I can't wait. If anybody can nail Superman,
I think he can.
I mean, this could usher in a new age of Superman, Maggie. I'm so happy. But let's discuss. Let's read the rest of the story first.
Right.
So. Via The Hollywood Reporter, the project will focus on the hero in his younger days and will star an actor other than Henry Cavill. Gunn and his DC Studios co-chair and CEO Peter Safran recently met with Cavill to share the news and to discuss ideas for potentially collaborating in the future on something else, perhaps a different role. At this stage, Gunn is merely writing the script, though he could potentially direct depending on where his services are needed at DC Studios, according to insiders. Via James Gunn on Twitter, this is what he actually posted about it. Peter and I have a DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. We'll be able to share some exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the new year. So maybe getting a whole blowout, which would be fantastic.
DC Dome.
I mean, no.
Fandom.
No,
Bring back the Fandom.
I'd rather not do that. I'd rather get like a Marvel style like thing where like they explain like, here's phase 1 of the DCU.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't call it phases. I mean, although maybe they could.
Chapters.
That'd be exciting. Among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life, so the character will not be delayed by Henry Cavill. I see her. She's ridiculous.
Lucy decided to get up on the table, everybody.
But we just had a meeting. We just had a great meeting with Henry, and we're big fans, and we talked about a number of exciting possibilities to work together in the future. Wait. Among those is the slate of Superman initial stages of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill. I don't think I said that. So then somebody asked him, please tell me this isn't an origin movie. And James Gunn retweeted it and said, no way. So it's not an origin movie.
Not an origin.
Young hero movie, but not an origin. So think The Batman.
The Batman.
Like year 2.
Yeah.
And then asked, could Ben Affleck direct? Gunn retweeted and said, we met with Ben yesterday precisely because he wants to direct, and we want him to direct. We just have to find the right project. Yes. So even though Ben may be out as Batman, which I'm assuming at this point. Yeah.
Good on him.
You know, why not? And if you've seen Argo, you know that dude can direct a movie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's obviously done more than just Argo, but I mean, Argo kicks so much ass.
Didn't him and Matt Damon write?
They wrote Good Will Hunting.
Yeah. God, that movie's so good.
You know, I've never seen Good Will Hunting.
You should. It's so good. Like, I mean, everybody in it's so good.
I saw Good Will Hunting 2 hunting season. Via Henry
Good
Cavill.
joke.
Thank you.
A little bit late on the draw there.
Via Henry Cavill on Instagram. This is straight from him.
Mm-hmm.
I have just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and it's sad news, everyone. I will, after all, not be returning as Superman. After being told by the studio to announce my return back in October prior to their hire, this news isn't easiest, but that's life. The changing of the guard is something that happens. I respect that. James and Peter have a universe to build. I wish them and all involved with a new universe the best of luck and the happiest of fortunes. For those who have been by my side through the years, we can mourn for a bit, but then we must remember Superman is still around. Everything he stands for still exists, and the examples he sets for us are still there. My turn to wear the cape is past, but what Superman stands for never will. It's been a fun ride with you all, onwards and upwards. Then Hollywood Reporter continues, Warner's has also been developing a black Superman film written by Ta-Nehisi Coates and produced by J.J. Abrams. Mm-hmm. And Gunn's new movie is said to not have an impact on that project, with Coates still working on the script. Superman has long been a favorite of Gunn, who has been thinking about the new movie since his early days at DC 4 years ago. Over the weekend, Gunn marked the anniversary of the 1978 film by Richard Donner, sharing the poster and reminiscing about seeing it in theaters in Missouri as a child. Wrote the filmmaker, I loved it, and it rivaled Star Wars for me, and the score blew my mind.
Awesome.
Yes. Now, we'll pause here and only talk, let's not talk Cavill.
Okay.
We'll talk Cavill following.
Gotcha.
So as far as this part goes, honestly, so when the news first broke, I don't know. I'm trying to decide if we can, because I feel like we got to talk about the Cavill stuff before we can really dissect this. Because if we start talking about it, it's just going to be confusing why we're not really talking about Cavill. So I'm going to call an audible. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this piece into this. So, Henry Cavill may not be so great. On a recent episode of Des Moines Podcast, a not yet verified story was shared about Cavill on the Witcher series. So basically, there's this podcast. Somebody released a transcript of this podcast to start making the rounds. And I've not seen any actual outlets report on this. The Culture Crave that I follow didn't mention anything about it. Hollywood Reporter doesn't have anything out about it. We just saw it last night, like literally late at night. It was like 9 or 10. Yeah. So I don't know if it's just a weekend thing, if there's no truth to it, or if it's, if it is true and like maybe they're just trying not to, because he had all that Warhammer stuff come out this week. So anyway, so we're just going to read this just so you all know where we are with Cavill. So this is the transcript from the podcast. Okay. I recently got this message and somebody was like, do you want to know what really went down? And I was like, sure. So let me just read it. It says, at the beginning of the show, this is talking about The Witcher. At the beginning of the show, Henry was good to work with. A lot of unusual demands that made people feel like he wasn't really a team player. But that's not unusual for a big star. Though in TV, it truly usually doesn't happen until the second season. But in seasons 2 and 3, something shifted and he became really impossible for women to work with, which is always a big problem. But even worse here because the showrunner is a woman. He would try to overrule her and try to get changes made last minute across the board without her knowledge, which, if you know anything about showrunning, is completely fucked. The showrunner has to sign off on every minuscule detail down to the buttons on a costume. Female writers and directors were suddenly completely ignored on set, unable to do their jobs. Every department head was complaining. He started making comments. It wasn't a sexual thing. He wasn't grabbing anyone or being lewd, but it was disrespectful and toxic all the same. He's deeply addicted to video games to the point where it was like working with another addict. He was distracted. He was late. He was obsessive. And a lot of people think that misogyny came from the gamer world. Video game bro language is not how you talk to coworkers. And he wouldn't stop. Someone on the show compared it to watching someone get brainwashed by QAnon. Like his whole personality shifted.
Whoa.
Eventually, his disrespect escalated. Again, they compared it to QAnon. They're not saying he's into that.
Oh, I know that. But I'm just
talking
it's
about
just
how
wild.
dark it is.
Yeah.
He would rewrite scenes without even alerting the other actors in the scenes until it was time to shoot. He decided that he didn't want any romantic scenes at all, no kissing, no shirtless scenes, etc. He wanted complete control of storylines, but really had no idea of the limitations of TV, structure, budget, etc. He formed a weird alliance with one writer who was also a gamer who eventually got fired after multiple HR complaints were made. And after the writer left, Henry did anything he could to hold up production and cause problems. Eventually, top brass at Netflix was tired of him costing them money with delays in HR investigations, and the showrunner was asked to construct a potential exit for him. Netflix reached out to him personally, and he was given one final warning and violated that warning with an email he sent the entire writing staff. Right after that meeting, that was it.
Dang.
Yeah. So, yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
And I think that, in talking about recasting of Cavill, or just, starting a new Superman without Cavill.
Yeah.
Like, when we first heard the news, I was a bit mixed. Like, I wasn't mixed in that, I didn't know how I felt. I was mixed in, like, I had two very distinct feelings. One was super excitement over James Gunn getting a Superman movie, and, like, sadness because we're losing Cavill. Who was, at the time, to me, one of the best Supermans.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
I loved his portrayal of Superman, and I loved Man of Steel. I thought Man of Steel was a fantastic movie. So that was kind of how we dealt with this for I think it was Tuesday when this came out.
Yes,
and then this was last night. So I mean, we're talking like a 4-day period where it's just been that.
Yeah,
and of course, Cavill had left The Witcher so that he could be Superman. Well, that's what the
Apparently.
story was. And then like a couple of days after they said that Cavill wasn't going to be Superman, he had started getting a show about Warhammer.
Yeah.
With Amazon.
Yeah. They're trying to get the rights. Amazon is trying.
And so like, so it was all what it was. So then to read that about Cavill, it's really, I haven't had enough time to really take it in, and I'm trying to keep it in an air of disbelief.
Yes.
Not because I don't believe the people talking.
No.
Honestly, I want to just go ahead and say Cavill sucks.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's where I want to be. But until it is true, I don't want to just jump to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm always on the side of you should believe the victim first.
Mm-hmm.
That's where
totally.
I agree with guilty until or innocent until proven guilty. I agree with that, but at the same time, I would rather believe the victim over the person that fucked with them. There's a particular word I want to use. I'm not going to use it.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to be hesitant.
Yeah. I gotcha.
But I wanted to get that out there as to why we're not like, oh my God, it just sucks. I'm going to miss Cavill.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I will miss that take on the character, but if all of this is true, then no, fuck, I'm glad he got recast. Like, James Gunn made a good, great his decisions are even better. And honestly, there's a whole section in this about like the negative things that are coming out about what was going on at DC before them, and like all of the decisions Gunn is making a lot more sense as this stuff comes to light. Yeah. So we'll be diving into more of that after this little bit. But yeah, James Gunn doing a year 2 Superman movie. I'm very excited. There's a couple of stories that first come to mind that I could see possibly doing a part. But honestly, I think it'll just be an original story. Yeah. Like, I could see Superman Earth 1. I could see that being one. There's one called Superman. Well, I mean, there's For All Seasons, but that inspired Smallville, and I don't think
he's going to touch that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it seems like he's a superhero in Metropolis. Yeah. You know. Yeah. I don't think we're going to get the aw shucks like Smallville stuff. Yeah. You know. And I mean, obviously, if he's a huge fan of the Richard Donner stuff, I think he'll probably just go for, you know, making Superman a believable character, giving him, you know, his own flaws that he has. And I think we're going to get some good action scenes. Now, I will say, I don't have it in here, but apparently the script they were working on for Man of Steel 2, the main antagonist was going to be Brainiac. So, I mean, you know, if that's already kind of floating around, I could see that still kind of, because I pray to God, okay, that we don't get Lex Luthor. Like, I love Superman. I love Lex Luthor's a great villain. Yeah, he's a great antagonist. He can be in the movie, you know, like he can be pulling strings and shit. That's fine. Yeah. Even if it's President Lex, like I think that would actually be. I think if we did a movie where Lex is president of the United States, Superman knows he's evil, but there's a whole section of the world or of the United States that support him. Yeah. Even though he makes horrible choices. Yeah. And like Superman stands for truth, justice, and the American way. But now the American way means that, you know, you sell yourself as NFTs. I think that, you know, that could be a really compelling story, you know? And like, how does Superman combat, how does Superman stand for truth when nobody can agree on what the truth is? Ooh, this should be the tagline. Look at that. Look at me. Like, you know, that actually sounds really fucking good, you know? But I want to see some good action scenes. Yeah. And I think, you know, like to have someone with Superman's abilities and not use them. Yeah. And like, I know you got to have dramatic, you know, you have to find ways to like not depower him, but like, you know, you have to make it to where he can't just solve everything in the blink of an eye. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And like, I get that, but like, you know, one thing I liked about Man of Steel is that they made the villains Kryptonian so he could just let loose, you know? Yeah. And like, he didn't really know how to fight. And so like, they were kind of beating him up a lot too. Like, it wasn't like he just took them all out. Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I want something that has the heart of Superman Returns, but a lot more action than Superman Returns. Gotcha. And not nearly as much Lex Luthor fucking an old woman. That's what I want. All right.
Oh my Lord.
But yeah, and I think James Gunn can totally deliver on that. I mean, me too. And here's the thing, okay, everybody? Here's the thing. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1, fantastic, right? Hilarious. I don't think the Superman movie is going to be like super hilarious. I think it'll have comedy elements for sure. I mean, look at him. But I mean, even Peacemaker was funny, but had like some strong drama in it, you know? But the best part for me about Guardians of the Galaxy was just the simple thing of him opening the tape and it being Volume 2. You know, like that is my favorite part of that entire movie. Maybe my favorite part in the entire MCU, honestly. I love that because it's just so poignant and everything that it means without saying anything, you know? And I just love that. I love that. So I can't wait to see what that is in Superman. You know, like that gets me very excited. And I think this could end up being like the Superman movie we've been waiting for. You know, I mean, because even Man of Steel, as much as I love Man of Steel, like even at the time, it was just different. It was supposed to be very different from your normal Superman movie.
Yeah.
And I love it for what it is, but like, we still didn't get that optimistic Superman, you know? And like, Superman Returns had that optimistic Superman, but it also had a lot of just melodrama, you know? And like, he was depressed and stuff. And I get it. I mean, like, it worked for the story, but like, you know, Superman 1, we just watched for the Going Back to Smallville podcast, and like, he's a very optimistic person, you know. He doesn't just save people by saving people, he also gives hope to people. And I feel like that's the thing we've been lacking in Superman, and that is exactly what he is, you know. So anyway, I'm very excited to see what James Gunn does with this. Maggie, do you have any thoughts about this?
No, I don't. You pretty much nailed it all in the head.
Well, I'm glad that I nailed it in the head, because now our sponsors get to nail you in the head. So we'll be back after word from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by patreon.com/hopefullyawesome.
That's right. At the $5 tier, you can have access to every episode we make ad-free and have your name listed in the credits of every video. At $10, you'll be able to get access to our all-new exclusive shows right here on patreon.com/hopefullyawesome. Those include Hopefully Weekly, a weekly show where Maggie and I catch up on all the things that's happened over the past week, both in our life and in the world around us. Family Game Night, a weekly show where Maggie and I will play a variety of board games, from Blockbuster Party Game all the way to Fast and the Furious Heist Game, whatever that is.
Highway Heist.
The Hopefully Awesome movie commentary that we'll do once a month, where Maggie and I will watch one of our favorite films and then record us talking about it over it. Kind of like a mix between Mystery Science Theater 3000 and, just us goofing off and talking about nothing related to the film. And lastly, Matt plus Maggie. This is our monthly show where Maggie and I talk about our relationship. I don't think we'll be giving any advice, but hey, tune in. It'll be fun. And if you want to go above and beyond at the $25 level, not only do you get everything that we've just talked about, but you also get a verbal shout out as our Patreon producer of the entire month. All this and more.
So sign up at patreon.com/hopefullyawesome today.
All right. Thank you for that word, Matt and Maggie. We appreciate it. So now we will continue in our DC updates. So this part is the not so great reveals of recent DC events. We already talked about the Cavill stuff, so we'll skip that one and go to the Rock and DCU. So via Hollywood Reporter, quote, "In the end, he was a pawn in Dwayne's failed attempt to control a piece of DC," one insider observes. Cavill sources say he did not have a deal in place to return as Superman, only a verbal agreement that the studio would develop future projects. So basically The Rock brought in Henry Cavill as a pawn to cement his place in the DCU, and basically to say, like, now they have to do this. Yeah. You know, you can't ignore this because now he's back, and that's what the fans want, and you have to listen to the fans. Yeah. And honestly, kind of underhanded, like, you know, a little fucked up. Mm-hmm. And then there's that's just the first part. Then via Culture Crave, The Rock was offered a Black Adam cameo for Shazam 2. He declined.
Of course.
Yeah, it's too low for him. He wants to fight Superman.
Not going to happen.
And now, via Culture Crave, via Puck News. So Culture Crave got this from Puck News. Warner Brothers execs think The Rock and his team purposefully leaked a financial sheet with misleading stats to Deadline to make it seem like Black Adam was a financial success. Amid all the reports of Black Adam losing money, Team Dwayne Johnson even took to leaking to Deadline and then tweeting a purported Ultimates financial sheet. Johnson didn't actually admit to leaking it, but several Warner executives sure think he did, claiming to show that Black Adam will make it into the black. Fantastic stuff. It was one of the sillier trade stories of all time, filled with false assumptions, including only $100 million in worldwide marketing, which is, we obviously know is not. It's usually like twice the budget is going to marketing. Okay, no way does this movie get those home entertainment numbers given the audience rejection and short windows. Interest rates are not 2% in this case, etc. And long term, nearly all movies of this size will ultimately pencil out after every window is exhausted over years and years. That doesn't mean it's considered a worthwhile movie, but at least The Rock can get a good tweet out of it. So, so a couple things here. The Rock, I guess, knew Black Adam wasn't
done hot.
And convinced Henry Cavill, because remember, they're both by the same person, represented by the same person. And only got a verbal agreement. Didn't even get a contract.
Always get that piece of paper signed.
No, that's the thing. I mean, that if it wasn't for that, James Gunn probably would have had to keep him, Or, I mean, they could have broke the contract and just paid him.
I would say that would have happened.
Yeah, probably. Just to make Black Adam have to matter. Which is kind of messed up. I mean, honestly, that's the reason why we went and watched it. Like, we even said that. You know? And it's not, Black Adam isn't terrible.
No, it's not horrible.
By no means. Like, we enjoyed it.
Yes.
I thought The Rock did great in it.
Yeah, I did too.
And Hawkman was great.
Yes.
The Atom, all that stuff.
Dr. Fate.
Yeah, Dr. Fate, of course.
Dr. Fate, the best.
And then Satan, when Satan appeared, that was
Satan.
Wild. Satan is the villain.
Finally showed up.
Just not in a Marvel movie. That's crazy. Okay, so he did that, and then he scoffs at doing a cameo in Shazam 2, which, okay, buddy, like, Black Adam came from Shazam. Like, for God's... He is... Like, he literally says Shazam in the Black Adam movie. Like, you're not too big for that.
I think right there probably hurt him. That hurt it.
It makes me not like him as much. Because, like, say what you will. Shazam, I liked Shazam a lot.
Yeah, I liked it.
And, like, I mean, the kids are great in it. And, like, just the family dynamics. I mean, it's basically Big, but with superheroes. Which is fantastic. I can't wait to see the next one. I mean, it's probably one of the better DCU movies, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it's true.
So then there's that. Just thinking he's too good to be in a Shazam movie. And then, leaking things to make it look better, like just not very trustworthy thing to
it's
do.
Not very professional either.
Yeah, not so much.
Because it's only going to make people think, oh, you're just going to lie about stuff, It's going to make them question whether or not to work with him. Yeah,
and I mean, I don't know. It sucks because The Rock is always... portrayed as a decent dude, Yeah. And I don't think he's a bad guy. I think that he was trying to make some business moves and maybe made some wrong choices.
Yeah.
And I think maybe, obviously the studio was being run terribly. And I mean, Zaslav made things worse, I'm sure. Yes. So I mean, The Rock probably did think that he could,
maybe take over.
Yeah, take control of the DCU. And I mean, his DCU maybe would have been decent.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say that it would have been bad. But the fact that James Gunn is now there, like, and he's like proving. I mean, him and Peter, is that his name?
Yes.
That they're there and they're proving like, we're going to do what we're going to do.
We have a plan, and you are not going to get in our way.
Yeah, we are done. Like, DC is done, bending to the qualms of the actors, of the directors, of the audience. Like,
they're just done.
Because DC, feels like they just go whichever way the wind is blowing on any given day.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, let's be real. Okay. I'm going to get really real right now.
Real.
And like, it might piss a few people off. I am glad the Snyder Cut came out. However, it never should have come out. Like, all that to me, and I would say other people probably feel similar, it only shows a lack of belief in your own choices. Like, it's one thing to release a director's cut, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Daredevil comes out and it's the director's cut, and it's way better.
Yeah.
Right? And like that's cool, you know. And I mean, several movies get stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for it to be years and years, and then you finally say, like, you know what, we made a bad movie.
Guess what, guys?
And we're gonna give you what you've been, you know, being psychos about online and harassing people about, and we're gonna give it to you. So here you go. Here's your fucking Snyder cut. And we're going to put millions of dollars into it also.
Yeah.
You know, and then like you get Wonder Woman 84, and like you can tell the studio didn't really
care.
Well, I mean, they didn't try to, you know, push back. They were like, oh, well, Patty Jenkins, you know, we got to let her do what she wants. It's just like nobody, like, say what you will about Kevin Feige and some of the choices he's made. And like, I would, as much as I would have loved to watch an Edgar Wright movie, right?
Oh yeah.
He did not say, well, you're Edgar Wright, so we'll let you, you know, we have our story, but we'll let you go your way because we don't want to, you know. And like he chose the story over the director.
Yeah.
Because it was what was best for the story. Mm-hmm. And like, at the end of the day, when you're making movies, when you're making shows, when you're making whatever, as long as the choices you're making is to the benefit of the thing that you're making, that is what has to be. Because at the very least, even if it sucks at the end of the day, right? Even if what you make sucks, at least it is true to itself. Mm-hmm. And if you're only making things, you know, to make shareholders happy, to make the directors happy, to make, you know, the writers, the actors, and you are knowingly making it not be the best it can be, then I feel like you're selling off your beliefs for, you know, a quick money grab. You know, you're selling off your convictions. And like, you know, to me, I would rather have somebody that fully believes in what they're doing and like, you know, will fight for that so that they can make what they believe is the best possible thing. Yeah. Like Kevin Smith. That's why I like Kevin Smith so much. Because I mean, he's not willing to, you know, to change a bunch of shit just to get his movie made. No. Like, he'll do it the hardest way possible if he has to. But it will be his movie at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Just like Kevin Feige. Like, I truly believe, you know, that's what he wants to come out. And I think that that's what James and Peter want. Like, they want to make the universe that DC to them deserves. Yes. And like DC just hasn't got that.
No, it hasn't.
Like, you know, like it's never got it. Yeah. I mean, you know, Nolan, sure, like his Batman stuff is great. Matt Reeves' Batman stuff is great. And it works for those. But like, if we're talking about a shared DC universe, we've not gotten a good one at any point. No. You know, like the closest, I guess, would be Flash and Arrow. But yeah, like, does the Flash, me and Billy was talking about this. Do any of the movies that are coming out still need to even come out?
No, they don't need to come out.
You know what I mean?
I said that last week, I believe. None of them.
I know the Flash doesn't need to, but I like all of them.
Aquaman does, but
like, who gives a shit at this point?
I think the reason why Aquaman 2 is coming out is because the co-CEO with James Gunn, his production company
worked on it.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, like,
and understandably so. I mean, gotta make your money.
Yeah, from a money business standpoint, they have these 4 movies in the can, and like they need to get them out. Yeah, and I get that, but at the same time, like, it just feels so fruitless, so it pointless. Does. You know, like Black Adam hit HBO this week, and I sent Billy a text, you know, hey, just so you know, Black Adam's on there. He's like, oh, that's cool. I'll probably check it out at some point. He's like, it just feels pointless right now. Like, and it's like, I can't disagree, because like, what's the point? You know, if none of this is going anywhere. Yeah. You know, it's like, why we haven't watched the New Mutants. Yeah. Because we know it's over, you know?
And I've seen multiple people apparently watch it recently, and they said it's absolute garbage. Well, like, I mean, there's nothing, like, the storyline is awful.
I immediately regretted watching Dark Phoenix when we watched it. But I was just hoping that maybe...
I knew going in. I was like, this is going to be awful.
I was hoping maybe, like, since they knew it was the last one, that maybe they would do something. No. And no, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Not even good. I just want them to end it in some way, you know, just something at the
memorable
end. You know, the universe blows up or something, you know. I don't know.
We wish.
But yeah. So let's see. Anything you want to say about the leaks before I go to the next part? All right.
Go.
So next up, Patty Jenkins has some more to say. And honestly, I will say everything that she puts in this, I actually respect.
Okay.
Respect it.
All right.
So this is about her Star Wars project, but it touches on Wonder Woman 3. So that's why it's in this DC plot.
Okay.
So Patty Jenkins' Star Wars movie is back on. So this is from Patty Jenkins. She wrote this out. I don't know where she posted it. Like,
okay.
All I had was the JPEG of her post. So I don't know if she put it like on a website or Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows? So this is directly what she's put. Sigh. ... I'm not one to talk about private career matters, but I will not allow inaccuracies to continue. Here are the facts. 1. Originally left Rogue Squadron after a long and productive development process when it became clear it couldn't happen soon enough, and I did not want to delay Wonder Woman 3 any further. When I did, Lucasfilm asked me to consider coming back to Rogue Squadron after Wonder Woman 3, which I was honored to do so. So I agreed. They made a new deal with me. In fact, I'm still on it, and that project has been in active development ever since. I don't know if it will happen or not. We never do until the development process is complete, but I look forward to its potential ahead. When there started being backlash about Wonder Woman 3 not happening, the attractive clickbait false story that it was me that killed it or walked away started to spread. This is simply not true. I never walked away. I was open to considering anything asked of me. It was my understanding there was nothing I could do to move anything forward at this time. DC is obviously buried in changes they are having to make, so I understand these decisions are difficult right now. I do not want what has been a beautiful journey with Wonder Woman to land on a negative note. I have loved and been so honored to be the person who got to make these last 2 Wonder Woman films. She is an incredible character. Living in and around her values makes one a better person every day. I wish her and her legacy an amazing future ahead with or without me. Walking side by side with Linda Carter, an absolute legend and beacon of goodness and light, has been a thrill. Have learned so much from her and will cherish her as a friend and mentor. Always. My crew has been like family and fought every day to give the world the best film they could. And Gal Gadot, where do I even begin? Gal is the greatest gift I've ever received in this whole journey. A cherished friend, inspiration, and sister. There are no words I can use to convey how magical she is. She is the walking embodiment of Wonder Woman in real life and a better person than the world can imagine. Never once in the millions of moments I have spent with her did I see anything less. She is a gift to this world and even more so to me. Lastly, but most importantly, thank you to the incredible Wonder Woman fans and for all your love and support. Wonder Woman fans are often not the most visible in the media and online, but I want you to know that we have always seen and celebrated you and your importance. Yeah. You are first and foremost in our minds every day when we made the last 2 films. You are the best and most loving people, and I look forward to always celebrating you. Thank you all for this wonderful journey. Keep up the Wonder Woman spirit. Any day you face struggles, try asking, what would Wonder Woman do? I hope her beacon of love, truth, and justice is always there to lead the way for you as she has done for me. That's it.
Wow.
Like, I really like that.
Me too.
And I want to say, when this posted, and I should have looked it up to make sure. James Gunn retweeted it and said Patty has been nothing but professional to work with. So he was giving his stamp on this and saying this is true.
Yeah, and also saying whoever's spreading all this crap, you know, just stop.
Yeah. And
and good on him.
Yeah, no, I mean absolutely. He didn't have to do that.
He's doing his job, though.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he could have just let this Wonder Woman stuff die.
Yeah.
And just not gotten to the public. But I like that the thing about James Gunn is he respects his other colleagues. Yeah. He doesn't think he's above everybody. Mm-mm. And I love that. I love that. It makes me conflicted because I still really don't like Wonder Woman 84.
No, but for him to put a stamp on what Patty said.
No, totally.
I think that means a lot.
Yeah. Well, and what I mean is that this makes me really appreciate Patty.
Yeah.
Like a lot more than I have.
Yeah.
You know. I still don't like what she did with the movie.
No, I don't either.
But like that doesn't mean that she's like a bad person. No. And I feel like what she was going for is a good message. I think it just didn't come out the way it needed to.
No.
And that honestly could be because of a million other things.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it could be because it had to do with, the production staff or the other people running DC.
Yeah.
Or, they were forcing crap on
well,
them.
And also, and when it was released, it was on streaming because of the pandemic.
And they didn't want that.
No.
They wanted to be in theaters.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and what's she going to do? Is she going to say, like, I'm a woman and they wouldn't let me make my movie while she's actively making Wonder Woman 3? I mean, so it definitely, I kind of feel bad about how we would like discuss not being such big fans of her.
Yeah.
Because it turns out
she's actually a pretty chill person.
Yeah. And like
we apologize.
Yeah. And now I'm thinking about it, what we were talking about Henry earlier. And it's like, well, shit, is that also going to be?
Are we going to come back and it's going to bite us in the butt?
So, anyway, I guess just all this to say, like, seeing her more as a person, I'm very curious to see what her Star Wars movie is. Like, I don't think just because Wonder Woman 84 was bad, I don't think that means she's terrible at her job. No. And like, even though I was maybe less intrigued, when I found out it was Patty Jenkins or whatever.
Yeah.
Now just knowing that she's a good person, like that makes me want to go watch it.
Yeah.
Like that. I always much prefer like supporting people that are good more than just people that make good movies.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what's been our issue with Avatar a little bit.
That's what I'm like,
But yeah, we'll dive more into that here in a minute. What do you want to say about Wonder Woman, honey?
I mean, I enjoy Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman.
Me too.
I mean, just watching her become Wonder Woman, and also, I mean, just known in other things too. Yeah. I mean, she's in Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious, man. Bring her back. Now's the time. Now's the time to bring her back. Hey, I got a movie for you, Gal Gadot. We're going back to the future to save Gal Gadot.
Because guess what? Your boyfriend's alive.
And we're in the movies.
Oh, wait. She didn't know he died, but I mean, oh well.
Damn, poor Han. Yeah. What a life.
Yeah. But I mean, I loved the first Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman 2, there's some things I liked about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that we've talked about that a gazillion times.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just nice to know that, people are vouching for her. Like,
yes.
She's a good person and, creator wise, she's respected.
Yeah.
So. And
I think the fact that she wanted to use, she was probably aware enough that this was going to be, because of all these stories that come out, that whatever she was going to say was going to get picked up a little bit more than just whatever normally she would. And so the fact that she used that to thank everyone, like it could have just been all defending herself.
Yeah.
But like she knew it was going to be picked up, and so she wanted to include, how much she appreciated everyone.
Yeah.
And what just the character of Wonder Woman meant, and like, I mean, that to me, that's awesome. That to me, that pretty much underscores her as being a very humble person.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, that did a lot for me for Patty Jenkins. And I'm really excited to see what she does next. If it's Rogue Squadron, that'll be great. If she and Gal work on just a regular, normal movie that's not tied to anything, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to see her just get her own thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want it to be like an action movie. Not that she can't do action. I mean, that'd be fun. I'm just thinking about like Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Like making like Army of the Dead and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I mean, maybe I wouldn't mind like just watching her do like I don't know, a thriller. That'd be fun, like a psychological thriller, like Gone Girl type movie, but with Gal Gadot. That'd be rad. Yeah. Holy shit, do that. Or just let Fincher make another movie. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. God. Give Patty Jenkins Mindhunter. Let her run the next season of Mindhunter. That's what I just want more Mindhunter. Okay,
bring it back, Netflix. God.
All right. Anything else you want to say?
No.
Next story. We are out of the DCU block.
Hell
everybody. Yeah. So now let's get into the Marvel block. Okay, it's not necessarily this is Marvel related, but it's just one story. So via the Hollywood Reporter, you would think that I'm like subscribed to the Hollywood Reporter.
Yeah.
Literally everything I do is found in Culture Crave's Twitter, and it just so happens all the stories that I prefer out of the ones he's posted come from Hollywood Reporter. So like, I mean, some of them come from Deadline and stuff, and I try and backtrack. Like if he links to Hollywood Reporter, but they're reporting on an article that first appeared in Deadline or The Wire, then I follow that back and go to that one. But yeah, so anywho, from the Hollywood Reporter, Donald Glover set to star in produce a Spider-Man movie.
Prowler.
Based on villain
Prowler.
Hypno Hustler.
What?
So this is one of those
That's not what they told us.
This is one of those like 940 characters that they own, I guess. Hypno Hustler. Womp 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 womp.
Yeah, definitely.
So Miles Murphy, the son of actor and comedian Eddie Murphy, is on board to write the project, which has no title, but is said to revolve around the Hypno Hustler, one of the more obscure Spider-Man villains. Created by Bill Mantlo, the writer who also created Rocket Raccoon, and artist Frank Springer, Hypno Hustler was very much a product of the disco music scene when he first appeared in Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man number 24 in 1978. His real name was Antoine Delson, the leader of a band called the Mercy Killers, and used hypnosis technology in his instruments on his audience in order to rob them. So he would hypnotize them and then rob them. Yeah.
Wow.
Hypno Hustler is not considered one of Spider-Man's top villains. In fact, he regularly shows up on the worst villains list. But sources say Glover sparked to the musical aspect of the character and the fact that he has, quote, less Marvel canon baggage, freeing him to greater interpretations. The project will be anything from a disco period piece to a reimagined modern hip-hop version or even a cyberpunk future play. Sony, which owns the film rights to Spider-Man and related characters, has a whole slate of films based on not just villains, but also heroes that make up the Spider-Man family. With movies such as Venom and Morbius under its belt, the studio has Kraven the Hunter set for an October 6, 2023 release. Hero project in development include Madam Web and Spider-Woman. So, Hypno Hustler, Maggie, tell us about how you feeling?
I mean, I understand why he's up for this because, like it said in there, not as much Marvel canon baggage. I understand.
I get that.
I'm cool with it. And also, I could see why the musical aspect of it attracts him.
It could be really cool, honestly. Like, I mean, I know jack shit about Hypno Hustler, and I would argue most people don't.
No.
All right. Now there may be some hardcore nerds out there that do, and like I'm not hardcore enough to be that much of a nerd. I love nerds. We love nerdy stuff. Positive nerdy fun. That's our whole thing. Yeah. But this is deep. The deep cut. All right. I mean, the fact that that's
the first cut is the deepest. They say.
Wow. The fact that. Sorry, hang on. And
wow,
deserved it.
Wow.
Anytime we get a musical reference to Carrie Underwood,
Sheryl
Crow. I knew
actually is originally sung by Rod Stewart.
For real?
For reals.
Damn.
Yep.
But the fact that this is the best picture we can get of the Hypno Hustler, I think says everything we need to know.
I mean, his goggles caught my attention.
Like, I don't think it'll look like that.
No, I know. I'm just saying, it looks that right there looks interesting to me. But I like weird stuff like that. So,
I mean, honestly, if it did look like that and set in the 70s, I mean, that'd be pretty rad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, imagine. Okay, you're gonna scoff at this. Okay, but so I want you to open your mind for a minute and just think about it. Okay. Imagine a Joker-like film, gritty. Not gritty. I'm just saying, like, visually. Gritty, dirty.
Yeah.
New York 70s.
Yeah.
And it's about Donald Glover as the hypno hustler, just trying to get by.
Yeah.
By robbing people with his music. I mean, you know, and he just starts playing like funk, disco stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that could be really fucking rad. You know?
Yeah.
And just nothing to do with Spider-Man. Yeah. Like, honestly, I want it disconnected from everything. This should be as much of a standalone movie as like The Girl on the Train is a standalone movie. Okay, like just literally no connection to anything.
Yeah.
Like, right, like that would make it a lot better.
It would.
He does not need to be a part of the Sinister Six whenever they decide to make that movie.
Do it.
No, Jesus Christ. No, so I mean, I love Don Glover. I think getting him in anything is always a win.
Yeah.
Even in The Lion King, even though that movie sucked, it wasn't because Don Glover.
No.
You know. But it does suck that he's not Prowler, because like that's what he was, and no, he's not apparently. Or like, I mean, he can do both, but like, there's still. I mean, we don't have to lament the whole Sony Spider thing. I feel like we've beat that to death for all 34 episodes of the show.
Yeah.
But you know, it sucks that we're still in this spot. Anything you want to say, Maggie?
Nah. I'm interested.
Me too. I'm open to it. At this point, who gives a fuck anymore? You know, like, I'm going to go watch whatever, unless it's Morbius. All right. Next story. Via The Hollywood Reporter, My Hero Academia, everybody. Netflix boards My Hero Academia live action movie from Legendary Pictures. That's right, everybody. Maggie, did you know that this is what the story was? Or did you think I was going to talk about Fortnite?
No, I knew that.
You figured it was this one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, I tried to not tell you exactly what it was about. Because anytime I reference it, I just said My Hero Academia. Because I didn't know if you remembered. So yeah, live action My Hero Academia movie on Netflix from Legendary Pictures. All right, everybody put your fucking dicks and pitchforks away. All right? Like, just because it's on Netflix doesn't mean it's bad. I personally liked the Death Note movie. So, get the fuck over it, I guess. But this is Legendary. They made Dune. They made Godzilla King of the Monsters. They made some of the Superman and Batman stuff. Yeah. You know? It's Legendary. Mm-hmm. You know? They're legendary. And here's some more. All right, you ready for this? You're going to be like, oh. Joby Harold, known for King Arthur 2017. Writer. King Arthur 2017. Army of the Dead. And Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, shit.
will write the screenplay for director Shinsuke Sato. This will be his English language debut as the manga sensation jumps to the live action movie realm. Legendary bought the rights to a live action adaptation of My Hero Academia back in 2018. There's no word on casting for the live adaptation, which may attract a host of Japanese American actors. Toho Limited will distribute the film theatrically in Japan. So I looked into Shinsuke's filmography. There's a lot of stuff in it. It seems like mostly live action stuff. Nothing like, I think he did a Bleach live action movie. There wasn't a whole lot that like registered with me that I knew. But I mean, it looks like he has a lot of focus on like action stuff.
Okay.
And so I mean, like, obviously if he's someone that knows the material, you know, then I mean,
yeah,
I'm down for it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would love. I think I'm trying to think of a way to say this that doesn't come across as like tone deaf or something. But I think, trying to keep people involved that come from where the source material is from. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes.
I just think that's smart because they'll, like, just on a cultural level, they'll have a better understanding of it. Like with your name, right? Mm-hmm. I would love for someone to actually be a part of it that understands, Japanese culture. Because especially that movie, like, totally hinges on knowing, about fishing villages, about, just how being quiet, is how you're supposed to be, and that just talking to a random person is not a normal thing you would do, and like how important that is to that story. And so, like, with this, I know we've been watching a little bit of My Hero Academia recently. Finally finished season 1, mainly because of Fortnite. For me, anyway. I've always wanted to watch it. Maggie fucking loves it.
I love it.
You've loved it forever. But it's just been one of those that, like, I keep wanting to get into, but I can never commit hard enough, But now that I know that we finished season 1, I think that was, like, the block that I needed. And, like, because we were watching on Funimation, and it's just every episode listed. Crunchyroll actually separates it by season. And so I feel like I'm actually getting somewhere. Like, and when I turn on Funimation, and it's like, there's 390 episodes of Dragon Ball Z. I'm like, But it's like, there's 13 episodes of season 1 of My Hero Academia. I'm like, well, we could do that.
Yeah.
And so I think My Hero Academia is absolutely ready to do live action. Like, there's not a whole lot about this story that I don't think you'd have to change anything, honestly.
No, you don't have to.
The idea, do you want to give us a quick little, 3-4 sentence synopsis of just the plot of My Hero Academia?
My Hero Academia is about individuals who have quirks.
Mutant superpowers. Yeah.
And certain individuals with quirks, certain kinds of quirks, if they're strong enough, they want to become heroes. And they can try to enroll into a school called, it's not Hero Academia. It's, UA. It's called UA. And, but there's also some individuals that use their powers for not good things.
Yeah.
So they're, i.e. villains.
Now, don't the heroes, like, get sponsorships and stuff?
If they get into an agency and they get sponsored, yes, they can have sponsorships.
And, like, that's how the hero, being a hero is about being a good person, but it's also, like, how they make their living and stuff.
That's how they, like, if they start their own agency, they can recruit more, like, from the high schools and stuff. They could do job shadowing and stuff.
It's almost a little, not at all on the dark side, but it's almost a little like the World of the Boys.
Kinda, yeah.
Like, where it's almost like not a corporate, like, because it really doesn't, what I'm seeing doesn't lean hard at all into the corporate side of it.
No.
But just how the world functions with supers existing.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, just what you just said. They do start explaining some things, especially with certain, because there's a top 5 superheroes.
Oh, okay.
Because All Might's number 1.
The main superhero.
And I can't remember the other dude's name that's on fire.
He's like what you'd expect, like a Superman, Homelander type.
But
good though.
Yes.
When I say Homelander, I mean power-wise.
Yeah. One of them, later in a season, it deep dives into what agency he's a part of and
That's
stuff.
awesome.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. Sounds like a really interesting world, honestly.
It is. It's very interesting. And also it like deep dives into how the main villains work also. Yeah. So it's fun.
Isn't it, I think I had this pulled over, but I didn't type it in. Isn't it something like 90% of the world has quirks?
Yeah.
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 And so, like, but like some of them can be almost useless.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like let's see. I was trying to think of one. It shows in the first episode, like just showing somebody at the grocery store, and it's just something not.
They can make bags appear or something.
Yeah, something crazy. But like
it's almost like in Looper, how like they all like were like, oh, we've got this thing, and like they can make a quarter float.
Yeah.
And they're like, we thought we were all gonna have superpowers, but it's like you can make a quarter float.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like it's nothing.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say anything else about the main character that it does follow, because I think, yeah.
I mean, I feel like, how about I'll take a stab at it because I don't know much.
Okay.
So I will say the main character, the whole plot of this show, like, that's the world. What Maggie's been describing as the world. The plot of the show is that their main character, Deku.
Yeah, the guy in the middle.
Yeah. Wants to be a hero. Loves All Might. All Might is his favorite superhero.
He aspires to be a hero. He wants to be a hero.
And I'm going to go ahead and say this. I don't think this is this is in the first episode. Like, in order to understand it, he doesn't have a quirk.
Yeah. He is among the 10% of the population that does not have powers.
Which is just devastating for him.
And
he like takes notes. He studies heroes. Like, he has all these notebooks and stuff. And like that, more than anything, he just wants to do good and be a hero. Mm-hmm. And then, All Might shows up and saves him.
Yes.
And it turns out, and I won't get it too deep. I'm just going to say it turns out that All Might, that there's something to him.
Yeah.
And he ends up needing Deku's help.
Yes.
Because Deku is the only type of person that, him not having a quirk makes him the perfect person to help All Might.
Yes.
And we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And I'll say, we just finished season 1 and it was really good, honestly. And like, I'm super stoked to get more into it.
I can't wait until you get to season 4 because your mind's going to be blown.
All the characters are fun, Yeah. Like, there's this one guy that's like an asshole, but it's a Japanese anime, so like
there always has to be one.
Yeah, it's like he's bad, but he's not. No. And like you're gonna hate him, but you're also gonna love him, and I'm sure we're gonna find out more about him that makes us like him even more. And like his whole thing, like he wears like grenades on his hands. Yeah. Does he blow up things, or is he fire?
His sweat can blow up. It's explosive.
I'm trying to think of some of the funny quirks, because like some of them.
There's one guy. He's a pervert. His name is Grapehead, and he can throw these balls off of his head, and they regenerate, but they can stick. To anything and anyone.
And so he can like trap them, almost like Spider-Man.
In a way,
like if he makes covers them in the balls and then throws them against the wall, they wouldn't be able to move.
Yeah. There's a girl named Froppy, and she has frog powers.
Whatever that means.
Uraraka has gravity, like she can make things float and stuff. Not telekinesis, but like she can control.
It's gravity.
Yeah.
Can she make it heavier?
No. She can. All she can do is make it light.
Oh, okay.
Make it float, and then if she touches her hands again, it'll just go back to normal.
Oh, okay. So like she could. Let me guess. She could like make a building float.
Yes.
And then touch her hands and make it drop on the bad guy.
And the only thing is at the beginning is that every time she uses her quirk, it makes her sick. It makes her throw up. There's a guy with a belly button that shoots out lasers. There's an invisible girl. There's a guy that every time he uses his quirk, it's electricity. If he uses it too much, the voltage it makes him kind of brain dead. There's a girl that can generate materials out of her chest and back.
Yeah.
And if she studies not anatomy, but like how it's made up, and she memorizes it, she can generate it.
Almost like, that sounds a lot like Firestorm.
Yeah.
Because if they know the chemical compound, they can make whatever they need to.
Yeah. And there's a guy, he's the class rep. He can run really fast. He's got engines in his calves.
Yeah, like actual metal
engines. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Like that's the thing is a lot of these quirks are very visual.
Yes.
Like they can't just do these things. Like you see the things that make them able to do the things.
And this guy right here, he has fire and ice powers.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'll be honest, I love him. I love all three of them.
Yeah.
You wind up, I'm not going to say anymore.
And I gotta say, like, each character so far to me is its own character.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not like, they just copy and paste, but this one has this ability. Like, you know which one is which because of how they act, not because of what power they have.
Yeah, and I love, I'm trying to remember. Oh, all the teachers. Yeah. Like you start remembering all the teachers and stuff. And
in a way, that aspect of it reminds me, and not in a funny way, but it reminds me of Tiny Toons.
Yeah.
Where it's like the teachers are superheroes. And so like you have like these classic, I mean, obviously they're new to us, but they've been in this world for a long time and now they're teaching.
And everybody knows them.
Yeah.
They're famous.
And like Alma being one of the teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so obviously the like I said, the main story, not going to tell exactly about the Deku and all that stuff, but Deku ends up going to the academy.
Yeah.
And so the actual plot is him being in the school and like learning to be a hero, having these other students. But then there's of course villain attacks and stuff. And so it's just really, it's almost like to say it's like X-Men is the wrong thing.
It's not. To me personally, I think it's just a brand new thing. Yeah. And I love the take on the hero stuff and the villain stuff.
It's fun.
I love it.
Like it's lighthearted.
Yes.
Yeah. But it gets dark too. I mean, they don't care to go there.
Oh yeah. There's a few seasons it goes dark and you're like, what is going on? I remember watching season 4 over the summer. Like I had to turn it off when Viv would wake up because things get bloody at some points, and I'm just like, I can't. I mean, I know it's a cartoon, but still, I don't want her to be freaked out.
Like some characters can't control their powers well enough, and so like they'll try to like jump or something and like break their legs, because they don't know how to control that. Yeah. So it's all that being said, it's a really great show, but I think a live action movie of that, as long as they don't lose the heart, right? I think it can totally happen.
And it depends on if the creator of it, if he has any say in that stuff. Yeah. I think that would help a lot.
Well, I think the fact that the writer of Obi-Wan, right, with what he did with Leia, and I mean even just the relationship with Anakin and Obi-Wan, like I feel like given that, I think they're gonna nail the heart of the show. Yeah. And I think that the heart of My Hero Academia is what makes it so good. Like visually it's great, the plot is great, the idea is great, but the heart is what makes it special.
Yeah. I agree.
So awesome. I mean, I'm excited to see what they do. Just because it's on Netflix, that doesn't immediately mean it's bad. No. And also, I think people need to remember Legendary is a part of it. Yeah. Just look at Dune, okay? Like,
for God's sake, Matt wants you to remember Dune.
A movie I should not have given two shits about, and I didn't until we watched it, and it made me love Timothée Chalamet. Timmy. JJ. I love it. I bought his skin on Fortnite because of how good that goddamn movie was. It's too good. It's too good. It's better than I thought it would be. By a lot. Okay, by a hell of a lot. But speaking of things that were better than we thought they'd be,
Jesus,
it's time to get into our main topic.
God, because
it's time for the main topic. All right, everybody. You ready for this one?
Oh, boy.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Avatar: The Way of Water finally released in theaters after 13 years of waiting. That's right. We finally got the sequel to Avatar.
We got it, boys.
It finally happened. Actually, I keep saying 13 years. Is that right? Yeah, because it's 2009. Yeah. And we went to the theaters and watched it. We watched it in 3D. Our first 3D film
3D.
since I'm trying to think of the last one. I think we watched. Yeah, I think we watched Infinity War the second time in 3D, and wasn't a fan, honestly.
No.
A lot of 3D was starting to feel like they're just just throwing it on there. It doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
Just another way to make money.
Yeah.
So we really weren't interested in watching any 3D movies. I think a lot of the theaters don't even play many 3D movies anymore.
No.
But Avatar was only showing in the MXC theater in 3D. And so he was like, fuck it. And it's Avatar, right? Like, if any movie that I'm going to watch in 3D, Avatar is the one. Because at least, James Cameron at least is trying to, he believes in 3D enough to make it an aspect of the film, right? And so we got tickets. And we went to an early showing on a Thursday, 3:00 show. And obviously we're not going to talk about spoilers right now. For those of you who don't know, we do a spoiler-free section and then we go into spoiler-filled. And you will clearly know when it's spoilers. But, just kind of the road to Avatar: The Way of Water. We've heard about this movie forever. Didn't know, last week I compared it to The Rapture. Was it actually going to happen? Was it not going to happen? And then, we started getting close. Saw the first trailer. I was like, it looks like more Avatar.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, right? We didn't watch the second trailer. We were going to do a reaction to the second trailer. That's
when we got sick.
And we just never did.
I'm pretty certain.
Yeah. And so,
it was.
We only ever ended up seeing the teaser.
Yeah.
And then, leading into it, James Cameron kept tweeting out just insane things. Well, he wasn't tweeting it. The articles being written were tweeted out. If it's not the highest grossing movie of all time, that they won't make 4 and 5. And he has ideas all the way up through 7. At first he was very much like, this movie might not make any money. And then by the end of it, he's like, this movie's going to fucking
blow it out of the water.
It's going to take you to Orgasm Town.
God.
And, so, me and Maggie have been talking about it forever. And Maggie's been on the side of,
I don't want to go.
And I was on the side of, I'm not really dying excited to see this.
Yeah.
If we didn't have a podcast, would we go watch it? That was kind of where I'm at.
No, we wouldn't have.
But here's the thing. I did always keep in mind that I really liked the first Avatar. Like, I really enjoyed it. I thought it in theaters. It was a great experience. It was visually something I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And even though the story is, some would say recycled, I prefer to say it's a very universal story. Like a person comes to a place he's never been, interacts with people he's never met.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's something very universal about that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I enjoyed it. I thought it didn't, it wasn't the best movie ever made, but I thought it was cool that it existed.
Yeah.
The fact that it was the highest grossing movie of all time was a bit of a surprise to me.
Yes.
I was like, it's good, but shit.
Damn, is it that good?
Especially when it took it back from Endgame when it got re-released. I was like, well, fuck, really? Like, Endgame was Endgame.
There's people that believe in it, man.
I know. So anyway, getting to this one, it had been so long. I started, I truly didn't know, would it be able to succeed?
Yeah.
Would it actually be able to?
Will it do it?
The thing we've been waiting 13 years for,
Will it be worth it?
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I'd given up on it. I honestly didn't care. In the first few years after, I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see another one.
Yeah.
But I mean, after 5,
yeah, you're like nah, this is not happening.
Once I knew it wasn't coming out until 2022, I was pretty much like, I'm just gonna shut this part
2008. Yeah, it's not happening, y'all.
I'll get into Marvel really deep.
Yeah.
So all of that being said, we then went this past Thursday, watched it in 3D, and let me say, you don't bet against Cameron. All right? You don't do it, because this shit was fire, okay? And I mean that in the most non-lame way that I can possibly say. It was amazing. Okay. It really was. Like, the best compliment I can give it is that it was 3 hours long and it did not feel like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
I could have easily,
I agree.
I could have sat through another, not physically, but mentally, I could have enjoyed another 2 or 3 more hours of this movie.
Yeah.
Like, what it does, again, we're going to say spoiler free. It's just, it nails exactly what it's going for. Mm-hmm. I think visually it is even better than the first one. And I don't just mean by like picking up like, you know, years in advance of technology and stuff. I mean, like,
if you hear a dog barking, it's on our own.
I mean, in like, the choice of area the movie takes place in. Mm-hmm. Obviously it's called The Way of Water. Water plays a huge part in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the setting of the film, right? The first movie was about forest. This movie's about water. And I think just visually, the water in this, like the underworld, or I mean, the underwater world, right? Of just everything. And I'm not saying that people live underwater. I'm talking like
fish.
What's that stuff? Coral and stuff.
Yeah, coral.
You can go check on her. Why don't you go check on her? Everything in that was just so beautiful. And in 3D, when they're, looking at fish, and like, not only are the fish like coming out of the screen, which is always my favorite type of 3D. Some people say it's gimmicky. If I'm going to watch them in 3D, I want shit flying in my face. Okay. I mean, that's the point, right? That's the point. But also the depth, right? Like being able to see, like you're looking, out on the ocean horizon in real life, and just seeing it just goes forever. It was just, he nailed it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the bioluminescence that they have at nighttime is just absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. The new characters that make their way into it is great. And honestly, I think one worry I had was, I've seen Avatar several times,
mm-hmm.
Probably more than 5 over the past 13 years. And, I really didn't want to watch it again. We ended up not watching. We talked about going to watch it. Yeah. We ended up not. Eric Voss actually posted a recap mm-hmm. video, which was super handy. But only for like the first 3 minutes. Then he starts going into specifics about the movie. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I don't want to know that. And again, this is spoiler free. I will say that the movie does a great job of bringing you back into the world and taking you to a new story. Yeah. With the same characters.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Right? That makes sense. Yes.
Like time has progressed. I would say about the same amount of time as it's been since the first one. So it's not like you're coming into this and it's the next day. Like you're coming into this and like they
time has passed.
Yeah. I mean, they cover what's happened in that time, but I mean, it's been 13, 14, mm-hmm. 15 years. And like how that changes the dynamics. And I can't wait to talk spoilers. Is just, to me, better. This movie kind of kicks Avatar in the ass. Like Avatar was right. Like Avatar was great. Yeah. And like, we as the audience are Jake Sully, and we are, experiencing this world for the first time, and his wonderment is our wonderment. Right. Mm-hmm. And then this movie is like, okay, you get it. Yeah. Now we're actually going to tell a real fucking story. Yeah. And it's great, man. Like, and it is as universal as the first story was. I think this story is more universal on a just very, very basic human level. Mm-hmm. Like the theme of this movie, I'm trying to think of the best way that I can stay spoiler free, but the theme of this movie is about protecting what you love. Yes. And I think that there is nothing more universal than that. I think, you ask anybody, everyone loves something.
Something.
Whether it's a person or a thing or a show, a movie, a book, a flower, or an animal, a bird, a spot, like a location, Yeah. Everybody loves something. Mm-hmm. And you know that if somebody was threatening that thing in one way or another, you would feel a sense of duty to protect that thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like this hits on that. Like that is the whole essence of this story, and it is baked throughout the 3 hours. And at no point do you lose that fact of what we're doing in this movie. And I think it does it in some of the most beautiful ways.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, every character is dealing with that in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great, Mm-hmm. And there were some choices that I was a little hesitant to like at first.
Yeah.
I think you know exactly the one I'm talking about. And I'll say ultimately I thought it ended up being a good choice. I mean, they could have done something different and I would have been fine with it.
Yeah.
Like I don't think... I'm glad that they went this route as opposed to just never mind route. Oh, never mind. Not really. Actually, it was more like this.
Yeah.
Like I preferred to not retcon. And within the world that they made, like it fits within that world.
Yes.
And honestly, I think the thing that like surprised me the most was like the characters that are in the first movie that are in this movie so little that like why did they even bother to bring them back? You know what I mean? Like, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Because it's like it makes that world more real.
Yes. Yes.
Like some of the in the first movie, when it ends and they're marching all the people out, like some of the people stay, like some of the scientists and stuff, because I mean you see them being marched out, and so like seeing them still in it for maybe a grand total of like 4 minutes over the course of the 3 hours. But I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's almost like Lord of the Rings, right? Or maybe The Hobbit, where it's like when you watch Lord of the Rings and Bilbo is a character, but like he was the main character in The Hobbit. Like it's almost like that, where it's like this world is just a fully developed world.
Yes.
And like we may be watching a different character, but that doesn't mean that the characters that were way more important than the other one are not there anymore. Yeah. They're just now background characters in this story. Yeah. And even though Jake is obviously still the main character, it's still just really cool to, it just makes it feel real, Yeah. So I really like that. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else spoiler free that I could really talk about. What do you guys think?
Oh, I mean, just what you just said about how it just makes that world even more real. I remember watching Lord of the Rings, and I read The Hobbit in middle school for English class. We had to. And me realizing, oh crap, there's Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah.
This crap this is continuing on. This is great, And seeing and hearing all the things in Avatar 2 that they referenced from the first one is so nice.
Yeah. It was like it was more than just a shared universe.
Yeah.
Because like, in Avengers, when they all come together, like it's great, but it's like they're all the main character.
Yeah.
But like this was like they just are in this world.
Yeah.
And
we are following them.
Yeah. Yeah. And like it felt more real, more organic.
Yeah.
And I'll say one thing I was saying to somebody at work was, and I mean this in a good way, because I think you all know how I feel about what I'm about to say. It reminded me a lot of Gone with the Wind. And I don't mean that bad, because Gone with the Wind, it's a classic, sure. It's a goddamn 95 hours long. You got to take 2 weeks off just to watch half of it. And like, literally aged 4 years trying to watch that movie. But it is in every sense of the word, an epic.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. And like, nowadays epic gets thrown around, which is fair. I mean, I fucking say epic, right? Avengers, so epic.
Yeah.
But what I mean by that is that the scale of the story and film inside of this very small story, like we're going to tell this story about these characters.
Yeah.
But it's going to be on the grandest scale possible.
Yeah.
Like this movie feels like an old school epic film.
Yes, it does. It does, definitely.
Right? And
yes.
like, even though it's, the technology is vast.
Yeah, vast,
yeah. Like, even though, like, most of the time, at the end of it, I had to remind myself, none of this is real. Like, none of the stuff we're seeing is real, which is insane. Like, it's insane. Like, the entire ocean is fake, and it's like, but it looks real. Like, I mean, it looks like I could just grab
they
it.
look real.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. They look even better than originally. And I mean, I never thought they looked bad.
No.
But the fact that in this, like, it's even better. It's like,
you can see the texture on their skin.
I think why we had to wait 13 years is because it took that long to render.
It might have.
Jesus. It's so, but just the epicness of it. Like, I don't know. It's like how Titanic was a classic epic and it came out in 98, or 97, whenever it came out. Like, this to me, even though it's blue monkey people, like, it feels timeless.
Yeah.
And like, I feel even more than the first one that it is for everyone. It's for your grandparents. It's for your kids.
Yeah.
It's for, the people that don't watch movies. It's for the people who don't like science fiction. And it's for the hardcore nerds that love all of this shit.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, again, it being so universal that, I mean, I think this is just, I don't know, one of the best movies James Cameron's made. And that's saying a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and if this is that much proportionally better than the first one, God help us when we get to 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Okay. Because, like, they said, he got like 4 pages back of notes for this one. For the third one, he got half a page of notes. And for the fourth one, he got no notes. And that they were just like, holy fuck. Right?
This is amazing.
If that is the difference from 2 to 4, what the fuck is 4 going to be? Like, if anything, this movie made me excited for the future of Avatar. And that's saying a lot. Because I did not give a shit. I did not give a shit before this.
Yeah.
So, Maggie, are you looking forward to the future of Avatar?
Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, as much as I was kind of dreading sitting in that movie theater, especially with 3D glasses on, within the first 5 minutes, I already loved it.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I remember looking over at Matt, I was like, oh my God.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's beautiful.
There's one visual, I think, that, and like, I'm trying to think, like, we start seeing in the Na'vi tribe, when it's covering the time span, like, we see, like, some of the tribe, like, have children, and seeing, like, a baby Na'vi is just
the most adorable thing.
It is seriously adorable. I mean, and like, the way that they capture that feeling of being a new parent, like, I found myself like tearing up, like it's somebody giving birth, and it's like, and it's like nobody I knew, it's just another Na'vi.
Yeah.
And like, just, I don't know, it's just that it could be so human. Yeah. And like, you forget that, like you forget that, like, that these are blue monkey people, like, they don't look like that. Like, they are so able to just connect with you, Sorry, I just...
We need to get into spoilers, man.
We do. I really need to talk about it. So, all that being said, I think we can both agree, you can say whatever, I would 100% recommend going to watch this.
Yeah, I automatically texted my parents as we was leaving the theater. I said, y'all need to go watch it. You'll love it. Both of y'all. You love the first one. You'd love this one. And, of course, they're in their 70s, though. Yeah. So, Mom said that she'd probably fall asleep. So,
I think for me personally, I would say this is worth going to the theaters. I would say it's worth watching in 3D as long as you're down for that. Now, if you're not down with 3D, then, don't force yourself. Obviously, do what you want to do.
I'll be honest, I did leave the theater with a headache.
Yeah. Not a horrible headache.
Not a horrible headache, but it's annoying.
Yeah.
So, if you're one of those people that's kind of sensitive to this stuff, don't make yourself miserable.
But I think seeing it on a big screen is definitely the way to watch it. Now that doesn't mean that, obviously if you don't want to go or if you can't go, then, still watch it at home. It's not going to, I mean, I
guarantee it's going to be on Disney Plus soon.
Oh man, I can't wait. But honestly, I feel like just the difference of watching it in a theater, and it being a grand epic film, right, versus watching it at home.
Yeah.
Where I watch, YouTube videos and, puppy dog pals. Like just that separation. I feel like this movie deserved that.
Yeah.
So if you can, I would highly recommend going to watch it. But, again, 3D, I think it's the best 3D we've ever gotten. I think that, for real, there were times when I was legit, wanting to grab things.
Oh, I kept on doing it, but I was just trying to be funny.
Yeah. But I mean, it was not only the depth, but the things coming out at you.
Yeah.
And I never felt dizzy. The only time I felt dizzy was during trailers when there would be those super fast hard cuts. I
had to shut my eyes and look away.
Yeah. This is edited in such a way that it doesn't throw you because it's in 3D. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it, but the shots are wide enough when needed, and composed enough so that you don't, you're not having that well, I was here, but now I'm here. And your eyes and inner ear situation are not connecting, Yeah. I didn't have any of that, I mean, again, if you like 3D at all, I think this is the best 3D I've ever seen. So all of that being said, I think it's time to get into spoilers. So this is the spoiler section, everybody. We're getting ready to go into it. If you've not seen Avatar, we highly recommend you go watch it. Be sure and stick around after the spoilers where we will rank Avatar 2 in our winter 2022 so far. And it's going to be an interesting one, I got to say. So be sure and come back for that. But now let's get into the spoilers. Gotcha.
It was a joke all along.
Spoilers. This movie sucked ass. No, I'm kidding. Can't believe Jake Sully was dead the whole time.
Whole entire time.
No, okay. So Jake has a baby. 4 babies.
Yeah.
4 or 3 and...
Wait, hold on.
It's
3, no, it's 4. Well...
3 plus.
Because... Oh, God, what's her name?
Sigourney Weaver.
No.
Oh,
the mama.
Natiri?
Natiri.
Yeah.
She has 3. But they find out that Sigourney Weaver's avatar...
Dude.
...was pregnant.
Dude.
And she had even though that avatar was not being in use, still produced the baby.
Okay. So
it was weird.
In the first movie, she's dying.
Yeah.
So they try and pull the tree thing where what they end up doing with Jake at the end of the movie, where they're going to put her consciousness in the avatar body and she will just be that. Not connecting back and forth. But of course, in her case, it didn't work.
Yeah.
But now in this movie, we learned that body, the avatar body, was pregnant already.
I mean, that's what they
say.
To.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
I think, here's what I think, okay? If you've watched the
Buckle
movie,
up, y'all. This is a wild theory.
This took a little bit to try and explain to Maggie what I was trying to say, because I kept just saying it wrong. And I was like, that's not what I'm saying. So I think that Sigourney Weaver's new character, who is played by Sigourney Weaver, and does a really great job.
Yes.
Her as a teenage girl, like you said hilarious. In the theater, it's fantastic. I believe that she is the embodiment of the Earth of Avatar. What is that thing? The Great Mother.
Yeah, the Great Mother.
The Great Mother.
The tree,
Yes, but all the trees are connected.
All the trees are connected. All the roots are connected
not just talking about that big tree.
No.
Not that specific tree.
Even the underwater people have a tree, and it's underwater.
And it all ties to the memories. And,
yes.
So, I mean, it's all the same, right? I'm assuming there's a root system in the center of the thing. So I'm thinking that she is all her own self, but she is also the avatar.
Yes.
And I don't mean avatar like Avatar the movie. I mean Avatar like how Moon Knight was the avatar for that god or whatever. For the Great Mother. And that is why she can like control it.
Yeah.
And that's why she can connect with it in such a way. And so that Sigourney Weaver's avatar was not impregnated, but endowed with life in the form of a child within the avatar body. And from that avatar was born this avatar of the Great Mother. At one point I compared it to Jesus, but like I don't mean that in like a healing way. I just mean it like how like Jesus had like God in him, but he was still a dude.
Yeah,
you know?
He still had his own self, his personality.
Yeah, and so I think that that's kind of what this is. Like, you know, I don't want to say immaculate conception because I don't think it's that. Like, I think that what Avatar does really good is they explain the spiritual side as well as the science side and how the interpretation can be, you know, it's just up to the person.
Yeah.
You know, here's a scientific reason why this happens, right? Like why the trees can connect with memories and download things, right? But obviously there's a very spiritual side of like being able to visit with people who have passed on, you know, and like having everyone tied together. And I think that they do it in such a way that neither is wrong and neither is right either. Like it's up to what you want to believe, you know? And I mean like, so I think like, they're not just going to be like, oh, she's a prophesied thing. She is like, you know, she is the Great Mother. Like, I mean, I think they will say that, but I think that it can also be explained as to scientifically how it happened also. And I just think that that's great because obviously there's some foreshadowing in it. Yeah. You know, Sigourney Weaver's character in the video or the memory of the video, like her original character, is that a recording the daughter's watching?
At the beginning, yes.
And it's talking about how there's like a central nervous system.
Yeah.
And that it's like alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's more than just that they're connected, like an internet.
Everything's connected.
Yeah. It's like it's alive. Like it's a real living creature, almost like the entire planet is. Yeah. Or moon, I guess. And so I feel like that's kind of hinting at that. Yeah. And then of course we see her, you know, doing all the things, you know, being able to control stuff later on. But even like, you know, in the first movie when Jake Sully was covered in those little things, like we see that happen to her. Yeah. And like, but like neither of them really talk about it. No. You know, I mean, it's not even that they don't talk about it. It's almost like they don't realize that it matters, you know, because she's laying there and like they're all like all
over.
Yeah. And then they just like swap them away and stuff. Yeah. The thing we were alluding to about the choice was bringing back the bad guy as an avatar.
Freaking Colonel God.
Like, at first I was like, I don't know.
I sat there. I looked at him and said, I don't like this. I don't like it.
And I looked at Maggie and I was like, well, honestly, in this world, you know, where they can make a wireless connection between a consciousness and an avatar body, right? Like, cloning absolutely can happen. Yeah. You know, like I would almost be offended if they said cloning was impossible. Yeah. You know? So the idea of not only cloning, but putting him in an avatar body, especially when you look back at the first movie, like going back to that and him saying like, you know, the brain of a Marine and a body of an avatar or whatever, like sounds like a perfect combination. Talking about Jake Sully. Yeah. And the fact that he himself becomes that. Yeah. You know, like I think it's obvious at this point that that's what they were going to do. Yeah. Like I feel almost stupid for not being like, oh, I mean, obviously the bad guy's going to become an avatar. Yeah. Why would he not? You know, like of course, like it's not bad enough that the sky people are evil and coming down and tramping on their land and stuff, but like it's also they become the things themselves. And like now that they are also Na'vi, does that are they still tied to them in a way? You know, like is their life sacred?
Yeah.
Or are they just still seen as sky people?
Yeah.
You know, which obviously they don't delve too much into that.
No, they don't.
But like I think honestly where that ended up going, especially giving him a son, I think made that story much more palpable. And like how he was able to like see, this is what I'm talking about, that science faith thing, right? Like Jake Sully was able to take that, you know, the red flying dragon, right? Because he was like supposed to be like this big grand leader or whatever, that had been prophesized about. And like so like him being able to do these things, it almost felt like, well, yeah, because he's the chosen one or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But then like to see the colonel be, or general, is it colonel?
Colonel.
See the colonel be able to do similar things. Obviously it's not the same dragon, but like to be able to just do that.
Yeah.
Right. And like he has no faith in any of the Na'vi stuff, like obviously, you know. And so like, why was he able to do those things too?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's just an interesting thing, you know. I think at some point they may end up being like a yin yang, where like they're both needed to keep balance, almost like an Agent Smith and Neo. You know, like they're both equal sides of the equation.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, fuck, when the kid died, like god damn. Like, fuck. And then, not only that, like, that part was bad enough. But then when Jake looks to his other son and says, you've done enough.
Yeah.
Like, motherfuck, man. Like, God, that just...
It hurt.
Dude, it sucks. It sucks so bad. Like, because that's that, you know, all he wants is to be loved like his brother.
Yeah.
You know, he thinks his brother... you know, is doted on like he's the perfect child. I mean, it's a lot like in Kanto, you know.
Yeah.
And like he just wants that love and acceptance from his dad, like his older brother got. And it just doesn't happen, you know. And every turn he makes the wrong choice or makes a mistake, and he's not able to convey, you know, exactly why he was doing the right thing. And like, it just sucks because it's just, you know, I mean, this is again a universal story of father and son.
Yes.
You know, like everybody gets this, you know, especially if you have siblings, but just that wanting to make your parents proud, but also wanting to not give a shit.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Wanting to not let it bother you. But it really is the thing that bothers you the most.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the love stuff, honestly, I thought they did great with like the young romance. All the kid stuff. I think that's the highest praise I can give it is the fact that none of the kids got on my nerves. Like I loved every minute with the kids.
They did a really good job with showing family dynamics.
Yes. Especially when the new tribe comes into play.
Oh yeah. And seeing how their tribe works differently than the Na'vi forest tribe.
And yet some things were very similar. Like, I mean, the dragons, but they rode like squids or whatever that also could fly.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Not squids, but, you know.
Eels.
Eels, yeah.
Yeah, you told me, you're like, I don't like these eel things.
Yeah, they looked weird.
Yeah.
They freaked me out a little bit.
Like
now,
their heads. The whales
kicked a lot of ass.
Kicked butt.
Dude, loved
the best.
it. I loved how smart they were. Like, you know, how he was able to like talk to the whale, like, and like, not just he maybe understand, like, it's straight up language, you know? Yeah,
that they understood each other. I thought that was cool.
They were so beautiful. Like, I'm usually not one for sea life.
Oh, you know? I love sea life.
I just mean, like, typically I come from a place of, if I'm out in the middle of the ocean, I'm going to be terrified, you know? Like, I don't want to go on a cruise.
This is the guy that was floating in waves at the beach.
Maggie, I could touch the floor. I was able to touch the floor.
Still yet, though, man.
Don't. You're going to make me not want to do it. No, but I mean, there is something about water and about like the ocean that is very like primal.
Yeah.
You know?
It is.
And I'm not talking about me at the beach.
No. I know what you mean. Like, that's why I love it. Like learning about all the different animals and stuff. I love it.
And especially in this view, like in this world.
Yeah.
You know.
I kept on waiting for like a giant like squid-like creature to be popping up.
Yeah, like a giant, like just some sort of like Godzilla style. Something, you know, not in a bad way. I mean, the whales were pretty good, big though.
Yeah.
Like
they were.
Like, and that one, I guess, shark thing that was like trying to eat him, and then the whale comes, dude.
Yeah, that was wild.
That scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, we jumped. I jumped out of my seat. I think during that part, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Dude. And then when the whale like fucks shit up.
Oh yeah,
you know,
that's the best.
Awesome.
That's the best.
Oh my god, I loved that. I was all about that.
I was trying to think of something. I had a thought and it's gone.
Trying to like, I don't know what she was talking about, to be honest.
Well, no, I had it on my mind, and now it's gone.
Kids, the dad, tribe.
Seeing Jake Sully as a dad was really funny.
It was. He did really good.
You could tell that his Marine mentality really had kicked in because that's how he survived.
Yeah.
But like Natiri's like, "You're being too hard on them." He said, "I'm their father. My job is to protect them."
Yeah.
And I really liked that.
Yeah.
And Spotter.
Yeah.
Old Spotter.
I liked Spotter.
I like Spotter.
I thought he kind of got a little sidelined.
Yeah, he did.
Which, I mean, I get what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it would have not worked for him to be there with them.
No.
Especially going to the new tribe and stuff. And building up with his father and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I feel like all that was needed. But I did miss him a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I liked seeing him more with the family.
Yeah.
Because he was great. Like, it was a fun little thing.
Yeah. Spotter was a toddler. Toddlers couldn't be put into cryosleep.
Yeah. A human toddler.
A human toddler. Yeah. So he got to stay, and the scientists pretty much raised him, but he ran around with the Na'vi.
Yeah.
And he becomes this little feral child with dreadlocks. I love it.
He's almost like Disney's Tarzan in a way.
Yes.
Jungle.
Not Jungle to Jungle. There's like a cartoon or something, I feel like, or a show.
With a young Tarzan?
Maybe.
I mean, there's the whole like first bit when he's a kid.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to think. It seems like there was like a kid that was raised in the jungle.
Jungle Book?
No, Jungle Book. No.
I mean, that's...
No. But he can't... Not Georgia the Jungle either. I don't know. I don't know where my brain's going. I'm hungry.
The Lion King.
The Lion King. But Spotter, I really liked him.
Yeah.
It was funny. Just seeing how he would talk to his own dad, which was the Colonel, and like, you know, trying to show him like all of the Na'vi things he should be doing. And like him trying to approach that flying dragon. Yeah. And he comes back and he says, "What's wrong? Jake Sully did this. Yeah. He did this." And he's like, "Sully did it?" "Yeah, he did." And he's like, "Oh, I can do it." Yeah. So I just love the fact, and also picking at his accent. Yeah. While speaking Na'vi. I thought that was great.
And like even near the end, you know, because he's a son of a bitch.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Like, he's such an asshole. And yet, he chose to protect his son. Yeah. Even though there's no way, like, at no point would you have actually believed that. Yeah. You know, but then there was something primal in him to protect his son. Yeah. Which is exactly what Jake Sully's trying to do, you know. And then, you know, and I even, like, got mad. It's Lou. She's running around. I even got mad that, like, Spotter saves his dad. Yeah. But that's the movie. Like even just sitting here talking about it, like the whole thing is about love. Yeah. And Spotter.
And protecting what you love most.
Exactly. And even though Spotter hates his dad and thinks his dad sucks ass, right? I think there's a piece of it that is, you know, his dad saved him. I think that meant something. And of course, he also saw he saw Nateri different than he's ever seen her before, and was afraid. Like he hid from her.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that, you know, all the choices made in this made sense, and every character in one way or another is trying to protect the thing they love.
Yeah.
The oldest brother is trying to protect the younger brother. The younger brother is trying to protect the well. The everybody's trying to protect the youngest sister.
Yeah. Poor
Poor
Took.
Yeah. I mean, and even the tribe leader is trying to protect his kids and his tribe.
Yeah.
You know, and the mom, like she's, you know, I love when the mom walks in there to help her character, her new character. I can't think of the actor's name, the actress's name that's in
Kate
it.
Winslet.
No, the she was in the first one, she died, and now she's in this one as a teenager.
Sigourney
Weaver. Like after she has her seizure. And like she walks in and says, "I see I'm not needed" or whatever, and then Tyrion's like, "Get out! You've done nothing.
Get out!"
Like, and in that moment, you just see the two moms.
Yeah,
you know, and like they're just two moms trying to take care of this kid.
You've done nothing,
and like it's so perfect. And I, you know, anybody, I feel like if you don't think about this movie, that you can just write some shit off. But like, you know, like, oh, well, I mean, so the humans come back. They left another back.
Yeah.
Like, oh, and the bad guy, he's still alive. And it's like, sure, you can look at it that way. But really think about this world. These people who have this, you know, mineral or whatever worth $1 quintillion an ounce. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, of course they're going to come back. Of course, they're going to kill everything they have to get whatever.
Upon landing on the planet, they burn out.
Because it's money.
Yeah.
And that,
burn down like part of the jungle.
Yes. And of course they would do that. And of course there would be these assholes whaling, you know, whalers.
Yeah.
You know, these creatures that are smarter than us.
Yeah.
You know, because they're just a bunch of fucking assholes.
Yeah. I remember my thought.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Whenever they do come back and they, the Na'vi take the train track.
Yes.
That reminded me so much of, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like, it reminded me of a Western.
Yeah.
You know?
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
You know, they don't like this being here. It's in their world. They're going to take it.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it's going to help them anyhow, technology wise, they're going to figure out how to use it, and they're going to use it.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, it's obviously a lot of this is inspired by Native Americans.
Yes.
You know, and I mean, not even just Native Americans, but I mean across the world, indigenous people that are, you know, constantly being getting the shit kicked out of them because there's people with more money and more technology than what they have, and you know, trying to take what's theirs from them. You know? Yeah, I mean, it's fucked up. And so I mean, you know, this movie doesn't shy away from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I honestly I don't know where this movie goes. Like, I don't know where we go in the next one. Like, me and you were talking, like, you know, is he just going to go to different parts of Pandora, and like that's going to be like it's this epic story is just discovering this entire moon, one tribe at a time, and like I'd watch the shit out of that. Like, absolutely, like take him to a mountain, like, or not mountain, but a desert. You know, take him to the snowfield areas. You know, what does a Na'vi city look like? Like, are there any Na'vi that actually have technology? You know, that aren't just you know, tribe-like. Yeah, you know, like I'd love to see that. Yeah, you know. And like, I know one of them goes back to Earth. Like, they take the story back to Earth, and like, I don't know, like, what is that? You know, like, do all the Na'vis like board a ship and like, you know, like go and fucking attack Earth, or like, you know, like I don't know, you know, like what is that story? Yeah. Or are we gonna get into like a fucked up situation where it's like kind of delving into like the slave trade and shit? You know, I mean, whatever this could be. I mean, I'm very, very interested. Yeah. And like, because now they're wanting to terraform the planet, right? So humans can live there?
Yes, because Earth is dying, apparently.
Yeah. Which, I mean, but not, like, why would you want to live in Pandora when, like, you can't even breathe the air? Like, there are other planets that have oxygen. Like, you know what I mean? I get terraforming would make it able to breathe and stuff. But I mean, I feel like there's a easier world to do that for, you know?
Mars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say Mars. But yeah, I really loved it. I can't wait to watch it again, honestly. And I mean, in classic Cameron style, you know, the first 2 hours are all about heart. The last hour is all about action.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, I forget exactly what was going on, but some people were getting the fucking shit kicked out of them, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Like it felt so good.
Oh, I loved when the chief of the water tribe got on his little flying thing there, and he jumps up over that boat and he just harpoons that one dude.
Oh, that shit rocked.
Yeah.
And like when his wife, and she's pregnant, and she's kicking ass too, dude. That kicked so much ass.
Yes.
Oh my god. And like the well rips off that dude's arm.
Yeah.
That was a kicked ass,
yes.
dude. Oh my god. Yeah. And I mean the last bit, like, fuck. It was so tense when they were like underwater and like couldn't breathe and shit. Like, oh my god, dude. Like, I hate.
Hey, there's a sinking ship in this movie. Sounds
wow. But I mean, all that was great.
Yeah.
And like Natiri going after her daughter. Mm-hmm. You know, I just loved it. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I loved it so much. Yeah. And wait. When Jake Sully finally tells his second son, I see you.
Yeah.
Cried.
I know.
I cried my eyes out. I mean, there's just something so powerful about that. And even that greeting, right? There's something so simple yet so
powerful.
Yes. And just saying, I see you, you know, I recognize where you are coming from. I understand you. I see that you are of value, you know, that you matter, you know, all of that just in the simple, I see you. So good. God, like more than just I love you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just that I love you in spite of who you are. It's that I see you for who you are.
Yeah.
So freaking good, man. God, I love this movie. Yeah. Fantastic. Anything else you want to say about spoilers? All right. Let's get out of spoilers then. All right. Welcome back for those who skipped the spoiler section. Man, just watch this movie. God, the more we talked about it, the more I fell even more in love with it. So now it is time to get into our winter 2022 ranking. So currently we have 5 on the list. We've got number 1, Spirited. Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Number 3, Andor. Number 4, Disenchanted. Number 5, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So last week we said we think it'll definitely be above Disenchanted. And then depending on how good it gets, it could go up the list some. But like we weren't ready to say that it would for sure be higher than Andor. I think I can speak for both of us when I say it's better than Andor. In our opinion, obviously, this is just us. We're not saying, you know, like you may love Star Wars more and you might get more out of the story of Andor, and that's totally fine. Yeah. This is just on our level of enjoyment, you know. So when I say better, I mean we enjoyed this more or deeper than another one. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, I think this is above that. Right? Like, that was great. But I just feel like this movie is...
No. Keep going.
So here's the question. Number 1, we have Spirited. Oh, God. And now, I'll be honest. Walking out of the theater, I thought I knew where I stood on this. I was thinking it would be above it. But now, like, thinking about Spirited and stuff... like, because I've been thinking about it the past few days, listening to the soundtrack. I mean, I'm open to discussion on this. Like, I'm not saying that I don't think it's better, and I'm not saying that I do think it's better. I'm saying I want to get your thoughts because I'm truly torn on where I see this. Like, well, before I get your thoughts, what I mean is, I can 100% see that this is, on a technical level, better than Spirited.
Yes.
Yeah. Just all of that. I could even say that it's deeper than Spirited. Mm-hmm. Like, I would say that, if you were going off of simple check boxes, sure. Mm-hmm. But Spirited also means a lot to us. And, I mean, it's not easy to do what Spirited did. I don't necessarily want to spoil, because I don't know if everybody's watched Spirited, so I don't want to spoil it. But, like, what Spirited did, it should be impossible for most things. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, so that's where I'm at. Like, and I mean, the soundtrack and, it's a Christmas classic at this point. So, like, so that being said, Maggie.
Well, I'm torn too, man.
It's hard.
I even asked you, can we just have
number ones?
Co-number ones. Because, like, I love Spirited. Like, it was such a beautiful movie, and love the costumes, the dancing.
And I haven't been this happy with a Christmas movie since Elf.
Yeah.
And before that, who even knows?
It was very well thought out, they really thought outside the box for that.
I mean, the one song that Will Ferrell does, and everybody has the lights in their hands, like, that did not have to be that hard.
No.
And it was. Like, they did not shy away from going hard. And it was funny as shit, too.
Yeah, it was. It was. Ron Reynolds and Will Ferrell deliver.
But Avatar.
Beautiful. Also beautiful. Also deep. Also, I mean, somebody thought outside the box on that one.
And it succeeded at being a sequel to a movie.
Yeah, it did.
13 years.
Yes. And it was better.
Yeah. I mean,
most sequels are not usually like that.
Pun not intended, but it blew it out of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, it's shortened now.
Yeah, it is. So as long as this lasts, that's how long the bit lasts.
Okay. I'm just trying to have like two screens in my mind.
Well, like, I feel like,
and like, because both of them made me happy.
Yeah.
Both of them have good messages.
And I feel like on a very generic level, you can say flat out that Avatar 2 is better than Spirited.
Yeah.
Like, on a critic.
Yes.
If
you're being strictly.
Checkbox.
Yeah.
Sure. But when it comes down to, when I think about us, like, that's where I'm like, I don't know. Because, like, it's just tough. Because, like, we just really, Spirited kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I mean, I knew we was going to watch it, and I was looking forward to a Will Ferrell, Ryan Reynolds movie, but I didn't expect it to fucking kill me. Yeah, like, I haven't been taken aback like that since, like, Encanto. Or even Tick Tick Boom.
Yeah.
Where I was like, what the fuck? This movie's a masterpiece?
Yes.
Like, I didn't realize that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But, Avatar said it was going to do this, and then it did. And, like, even though I didn't believe it,
Yeah, same here.
And so it's like,
I betted against him.
I'm telling you, man, you don't bet against Cameron. As much as I
was trying to do it as a joke, I bet against him.
You were playing it up for
yes,
fun.
I was.
I know you were.
I just wanted to point that out to everybody.
You really did not want to go watch it, though.
No, I didn't. I didn't want to sit in a movie theater for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's the main reason. I had to get up and pee 3 times.
Yeah, and guess what? If you bring somebody with you and they tell you what happens while you're gone, that helps. You don't have to pay for another movie ticket to go watch it again.
And I didn't miss much.
No. Put it at number 1.
You're saying it. Which one? Which one's going number 1? Avatar?
Yeah.
You don't seem happy about it.
I don't like it's. Oh, God, it's an epic masterpiece, for God's sake.
It really is.
It really is.
Like,
so put it at number one. No more debate.
All right. I'm with you.
Our child's awake.
Is she?
Yes.
Again.
This time she's chill, so we don't have to rush out.
Or bring her in
here. She's not going to be on the show, guys. Sorry.
Well, we do have to do our next topic. I'm kidding.
I will murder you.
All right, everybody. Your new ranking at number 5, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Number 4, oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm doing it. I didn't do it right. Yeah. Number 6, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Number 5, Disenchanted. Number 4, Andor. Number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Number 2, Spirited. And at number 1, Avatar, The Way of Water. It happened, everybody. Here's what's going to be fun. All right. God. And not next week. Next week, we're going to probably talk more movies. There's been a few hit streaming services that we didn't get to check out yet. So I think we'll probably talk about those.
Ticket to Paradise.
The Fablemans, and Bullet Train are 3.
Oh, God, I can't wait for Bullet Train.
I really want to get those watched because the episode after that, so not next week, not Christmas, but the week after, we will be doing our year in review, where we are going to rank the movies of 2022, movies and shows. But here's the thing, here's the kicker: we're only doing top 10. We're not combining the list all together.
Okay,
like it's just our top 10.
Yeah.
So we have Avatar 2 here, but there are other movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, God.
And I just...
yeah.
That's that discussion. I mean...
Let's crack out the dry erase board, guys. Pros and cons.
Oh, my God. That would be perfect.
Actually, I mean, I could pull up a Google Doc and just make one side pros and cons. I'll do it.
That'd be hilarious.
I'll do it. I don't care. I could type fast.
You could. But yeah, that's going to be a fun conversation. And I think, what was number 1 at summer? Was it The Boys?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, we got a lot of things. The
Boys. TV shows number 1.
Yeah, I don't think The Boys will be better than either of those two. But, I mean, that's going to be a fun list. Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, we will actually be having a document going out, Google Doc, that you'll be able to participate. Mm-hmm. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do our own, but then we're going to have, like, the hopefully awesome audience's picks.
Yeah.
And like, you know, that way it doesn't necessarily change our, like, you know, we're not making you all pick our opinion.
Yeah.
But, you know, and y'all can even highlight, you know, things that we missed.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm wanting we may not get into every category like ourselves, but I'd love to hear like everybody's picks for favorite video game, favorite show, favorite movie. If they watched anime, what was their favorite anime?
Yeah.
Everything. I want to get it all on the board. So definitely head over to our Twitter or our Hive. Thank you. I knew there was a V, and my brain went dead and just died.
Hive.
So head over to those places, or keep it on YouTube, youtube.com/hopefullyawesome. I do post it over there as a community post with a link to the document, so you can definitely just click on it from that. And speaking of, if this is your first time hanging out with us, we really appreciate you all stopping by. We hope you enjoyed yourself. We hope you thought that this was fun. We would love to hear your thoughts. Please let us know in the comments, what you thought about Avatar 2 and what you thought about this episode. Do you think it was too long? Was there anything you'd like to cut out? Was there anything you wish we had talked about more? Please let us know. We'd love to know that. And remember, this is a podcast as well. You can get it on every podcast platform. We would appreciate a rating. Thank you. And a comment, a review definitely helps us grow. And if you want to go above and beyond, you can always head over to patreon.com/hopefullyawesome, where you can get the show, of course, ad-free early, as well as some of our other videos that we do. And you get exclusive content if you would like, and you can get your name in the credits. So, again, you can head over to patreon.com/hopefullyawesome to get that. But if you can't do anything, just a simple stopping by and saying hello means the world to us. So, thank you for watching. We hope you all have a happy holiday, whatever you celebrate. and we will see you next week. Thanks for watching, and as always,
have a hopefully awesome day.
Bye.